cake.
Here, take the bomb.
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of The Peasant's Perspective. Let's see. We've got Frazier and another. It is another great day in Boise. Most of us survived the windstorm yesterday. The rest are in Twin Falls. Okay.
I was wondering what that meant. Are they all dead? All the non-survivors?
Is Twin Falls like Death Valley? Like what are we talking about here? What's going on? Carlitos, good morning. Carlito and Tiffany on YouTube. Good morning from Lake Conroe, Texas. Welcome, welcome. Glad you guys made it. We are doing pretty well today. Let's see here. What else have we got? I don't know, Ron.
We're getting a little moisture here.
Did you feel like yesterday was my wife says to me, she's like, I'm not ready for the week to start tomorrow. I feel like whenever you have Monday that's a holiday, it feels like it needs to be Saturday. I need a day now to recuperate and get ready for the rest of the week.
Yeah, but Monday Memorial Days do feel weird. They feel like Saturdays, and then Tuesdays feel like Mondays. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Feels weird. But we broadcasted yesterday, so we are on schedule. Frazier, bad when you have to explain a joke. They were blown into Twin Falls. I got it. Pony Boy, good morning. Glad you made it. All right, you guys, I know why you show up bright and early. You show up for the simultaneous sip, and all you need is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankine, a tankard, a chalice or a stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind, and fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure of the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better, the simultaneous sip. And it starts right now.
It's not lost on me that the Democrats just want votes from anybody they can get it from. And they don't mind letting some illegals vote either. And that's inexcusable.
Steven Smith for the win there. Oh, man, we've got some good couple clips that we pull up from time to time. All right, today we are going to talk about some things that most people don't like to acknowledge or talk about. But we're going to talk about first, before that, we're going to talk about the situation in Iran. So in the Middle East, things are really heating up. And this is very hard to see here. We'll see if I can make it even bigger. No, I can't really. Trump wrote a banger on his Truth Social today. So I want to take a step back for just a moment. The situation in Iran has been kind of played out, right? I'm bored. I'm ready to be done with Iran. Yeah. I'm ready to win. Attention span is pretty short here. Now, unlike Iraq, which ended up being a 20-year debacle, or Afghanistan, this Iran thing seems to be on the verge of conclusion every day for the last month.
Constantly.
Right. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. I would rather be on the verge of conclusion than on the verge of acceleration, I guess.
Sure. I like that. I'd like the projection of let's get this over with.
I like the projection of let's get this over with. But one of the things I've noticed as we've gone through these negotiation stages is that every time we're 1 or 2 days away from resolution, the resolution gets bigger and better than the last one, right? It's almost like we're selling past the close here. If I was looking at this from a negotiation business standpoint, I'd be like, man, who's ever negotiating this is selling past the close. He's getting more and more and more every time we're a day or two away from negotiations.
Right.
But the top line,
there's like 2 coats of undercoating on this car.
Yeah. The top line is no nukes and Strait of Hormuz is open.
Yep.
Right. So you'd think that any deal that included that Trump would sign off on. But what's happening is the Iranians don't want to give up the nukes and they don't want to open the strait. Sure. And so they're giving other things away to try to hold on to that. But
Silly
the other things they're giving away are starting to be so good on our end that it really makes you wonder. So here's this post from Donald Trump. Negotiations with the Islamic Republic of Iran are proceeding nicely. It will not only be a great deal for all, or no deal at all, back to the battlefront and shooting, but bigger and stronger than ever. And nobody wants that. During my discussions on Saturday with President Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates. Oh man, please forgive me, guys. Emir Tamim bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdurrahman bin Jassim bin Jabir Al Thani, and Minister Ali Al Thawad of Qatar, Field Marshal Saeed Hashim Munir Ahmed Saha of Pakistan, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey, and President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt, King Abdullah II of Jordan, and King Hamad bin Isa al-Khalifa of Bahrain. I stated that after all the work done by the United States to try to pull off this very complex puzzle together, and that it is, just those names. I mean, they probably had to spell check that like 5 times. It should be mandatory that all of these countries, at a minimum, simultaneously sign on to the Abraham Accords. That's a pretty big deal there. Those countries discussed are Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, already a member, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, and Bahrain, already a member. It may be possible that 1 or 2 have a reason for not doing so, and that will be accepted. But most should be ready, willing, and able to make this settlement with Iran a far more historic event than it would otherwise be. The Abraham Accords have proven to be, for the countries involved, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan, and Kazakhstan, a financial, economic, and social boom, even during this time of conflict and war. With the current members never even suggesting leaving or taking so much as a pause. The reason for this is that the Abraham Accords have been great for them and will be even better for everybody, and bring true power, strength, and peace to the Middle East for the first time in 5,000 years. It will be a document respected like no other that has ever been signed anywhere in the world. Its level of importance and prestige will be unparalleled, and it should start with the immediate signing by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and everybody else should follow suit. If they don't, they should not be part of the deal, in that it shows bad intention. In speaking to numerous of the great leaders mentioned above, they would be honored as soon as our document is signed to have the Islamic Republic of Iran as part of the Abraham Accords. Wow, now that would be something special. This will be the most important deal that any of these great but always in conflict countries will ever sign. Nothing in the past or in the future will surpass it. Therefore, I am mandatorily requesting that all countries immediately sign the Abraham Accords, and that if Iran signs the agreement with me as President of the United States of America, it would be an honor to have them also be part of this unparalleled world coalition. The Middle East would be the united, powerful, and economically strong like perhaps no other area in the world. By copy of this truth, I am asking my representatives to begin and successfully complete the process of signing these countries into the already historic Abraham Accords. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Wowzers. Ron, can you unpack that for me? What is he saying there?
Well, let's see. 2 thoughts I had. They're both just funny thoughts that I don't think they matter. The 5,000 years thing that he mentioned, I was like, whoa, does that mean we're going to go all the way back to when Cain slew Abel?
by somebody's count, I guess you can get there. It's always been a bad neighborhood. It's always been a bad neighborhood. That's pretty funny.
The other thing was that saying near the end, what Trump said. What did he say again? By this truth?
By copy of this truth.
By copy of this truth. Is that like a saying in the Middle East or something?
No. It's like by copy of this tweet, by receipt of this notice. It's Truth Social. So by copy of this truth. That's what you call a post on Truth Social.
Okay.
You're like, wow, that is some dramatic language.
That's what I thought.
I think this is very significant here. The idea that we would have a detente or a ceasefire or a peace deal with Iran, and then Iran would join the Abraham Accords.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to happen. What do you think about that?
Well, apparently they're working it up. I mean, he told his people to draft the appropriate documents.
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, all of a sudden, all these, I don't know, tribe's probably not the right word, but all these people in the Middle East are all of a sudden supposed to all just sign on and be part of the greatest, love coalition together forever. Like, okay, I don't know. That's a pretty big ask.
He's selling past the sell. I'll tell you that right here. I mean, it's not just a ceasefire. It's straight up, let's go into brotherly love.
Kumbaya.
This is pretty significant. The Abraham Accords have been very influential on Israel and the handful of countries that are a part of it. I mean, we've got things like flights going back and forth, economic cooperation. Yeah. It's a big deal. So, I think the Abraham Accords, Trump deserved a Nobel Peace Prize for putting those together in his first term. And they held through the Biden administration.
Well, if he can get all these tribes to be on board and go along with it, he deserves the Peace Prize.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty significant. So I think that's a really good thing. And, apparently, however, there was some strikes on Iran last night. So let's listen to Fox News this morning, breaking this down.
States conducted self-defense strikes near the Strait of Hormuz Monday.
And Iran's supreme leader is calling for an end to U.S. military bases in the Gulf region, saying, quote, the hands of time will not turn back.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Ying's joining us now live from Tel Aviv with the very latest. Good morning, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Overnight, the United States conducted airstrikes against southern Iran near the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says these strikes were defensive in nature and went after mine-laying vessels along with a surface-to-air missile position. These were the first U.S. strikes that have targeted Iran since early May. A spokesperson for Iran's armed forces said any new aggression will be met with a far more severe response. The strikes come amid the backdrop of ongoing diplomatic efforts to reach an agreement between Iran and the United States. Overnight, President Trump laid out a condition that he has, saying on Truth Social, the enriched uranium nuclear dust will either be immediately turned over to the United States to be brought home and destroyed, or preferably in conjunction and coordination with the Islamic Republic of Iran, destroyed in place or at another acceptable location with the Atomic Energy Commission or its equivalent being witness to this process and event. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The other key issue has to do with the Strait of Hormuz. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reiterated the Trump administration position on this critical waterway during a gaggle today.
The straits have to be open. Be open one way or the other. So they need to be open. What's happening there? It's illegal. It's unsustainable. Straits need to be open, unimpeded, without tolls. And obviously that needs to happen immediately.
We're also tracking developments in the conflict between Israel and
Okay. So basically, Trump is like, hey, everybody, let's do kumbaya, sign on to the peace accords. Pew, 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 pew. So there's still a little bit of fire action going on over there. So I think ultimately what it boils down to is this. It's the time is ripe. It's time for Iran to get going on something. I think America has a lot more longevity. Listen, man, I mean, we just barely got done with a 20-year conflict. We can stick around in the neighborhood for a few more weeks, okay? And I think that's kind of the attitude here, is we're not boots on the ground. This is costing us. It's obviously costing us a lot, but it's costing us very little comparatively to what it could be costing us to just sit and enforce the blockade and to put the pressure on them. It hurts them more than it hurts us. We're benefiting from this in the big top dollar scheme of things. Whatever money we're spending overseas to maintain the boats over there is a fraction of what we're earning in the ports of Houston and New Orleans, right, in selling oil. Like we're getting that revenue.
Yeah, call it a coupon.
Call it a coupon. Exactly.
The Iranian mullahs have to understand that their window of opportunity is rapidly closing. And I have the utmost confidence in President Trump and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth to make sure that the interests of the United States and the world writ large are taken care of. And that means Iran must never have a nuclear weapon. Let's remember, it's not just the 60% uranium. It's the 3.75 to like 20% that rapidly moved to weapons grade uranium. So that has to get out of that country because these mullahs cannot be trusted, period. The Iranian mullahs.
And I think that's it. I think they're just going to keep plunking along until they finally get an agreement. And it's going to be one of those agreements with some muscle. Like Iran's going to sign it, and then they're going to try to want to break it next week. And then there's going to be some muscle back into compliance with the document. But we'll just wait and see. I think oil futures, they dropped over the weekend. I haven't checked it this morning to see what they're doing, but it sounds to me like there's just incremental forward progress here. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we're not We're not full on boots on the ground war. Now, let's turn our attention to our local neighborhoods. And we're going to focus most of the rest of the show today on two neighborhoods, Seattle and LA.
Oh, no.
And there seem to be a whole lot of parallels between these two cities. They're kind of running on independent train tracks. You got the left train track and the right train track, but they are running absolutely in parallel. What's happening in one is happening in the other.
There's plenty to talk about.
There's plenty to talk about here. So we're going to tie these two cities together today because they seem to be linked at the hip. And we'll even find out that we're transporting homeless people back and forth. So, these two cities are involved in some type of human trafficking for who knows what kind of reasons. But I want to kind of premise this under the political remodel. Okay. The document, the manuscript that you can download at politicalremodel.com. And I highly encourage everybody to go get involved in takebackmycounty.com and become a part of the actual action movement to do something about this in our neighborhoods. And I want to focus a little bit on this document here. There's a section in here that says what all socialist systems have in common. Despite their differences, all socialist systems share several core traits. And the first one is socialism is built on lies. Socialism survives through total deceptions, not little lies, not occasional lies. It lies 100% of the time. Its promises are rarely, if ever, fulfilled, even when, and if it does fulfill a promise, they have hidden agendas and secret outcomes. It says one thing and does another. Its goals are framed as idealistic language, but its actual outcomes are almost always coercive, unequal, and destructive. The elites who promote it know it. They may convince themselves that their motives are noble. They may simply say they are trying to improve society or help people for their own good, but in reality, these narratives are most often used to justify control. That is why socialism's great enemy is truth. Truth exposes contradictions. Truth reveals outcomes. Truth strips away slogans. Like a virus, socialism weakens when exposed to the intense light of honest scrutiny and open debate. If citizens become committed to truth rather than propaganda, the system begins to crack immediately. So we discussed a situation in Seattle that was going on with the shootings in these neighborhoods off of Auburn Way. Mm-hmm. And this has gotten to be a real panic situation. There was another shooting last night. I think this was last night. That's the way this is positioned here. At 4 a.m., this was some footage caught. So it's obviously not great sound here. You're not hearing the firing of the guns. But there were 40 bullet casings found outside these vehicles.
Look at that. That's fucking crazy. Okay?
These guys are having a full-on shootout in Seattle in a suburban neighborhood off of Auburn Way. This is not downtown Seattle. This is the north suburban area.
You mean Aurora?
Aurora Avenue. Yeah. This is one of the neighborhoods off there. Okay. These guys are having a full-on shootout outside here. 40 bullet casings were found on the sides of the street. They call it the pimp and gang wars. Okay, so the pimp and gang wars are happening. And so what's been going on here is this Seattle neighborhood has had a huge amount of these cars that basically they turn off Aurora Avenue into these people's neighborhoods, these what otherwise would be quiet neighborhoods. So the neighbors have started to take matter into their own hands. This is the truth of what residents of this neighborhood in Seattle are experiencing.
There's been a shooting almost every night in the last couple of weeks.
It's terrifying to live here, and it's even more terrifying that the city is absolutely doing nothing to protect the citizens in this neighborhood.
Which is why they're taking matters into their own hands. They put up these makeshift barriers.
It was a game changer. It made it feel much more safe there.
Okay, so now let's talk about these barriers. So what happened is the city, like they said, has been having shootings almost every night for a couple months now. And the city has been incapable of doing anything. What did I say? Socialism is built on lies. Give us your tax money, give us this, and we're going to promote DEI in our police forces. Mm-hmm. We're going to promote strong HOAs that can tell you what to do with your neighborhood, right? It's all these liberal policies. But at the end of the day, government locally has one job. It's the same as the United States federal government. You have one job: protect us from our enemies. Mm-hmm. Like if we're getting foreign invaded, the military, I don't care what you're doing in Iraq. Come deal with our border.
Right.
So I don't care. I don't care what you're doing anywhere else in the city. Come stop the shootings in my neighborhood, right? You had one job, police officer, stop these guys from shooting me. All the gun laws that you've passed, all the red flag laws that you passed, all the stuff you've done to limit my rights in the name of keeping me safe, pew, 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 outside of my neighborhood at night, and I'm disarmed.
Every night,
right? And yeah, I've disarmed myself because you said you were taking guns away from criminals, but clearly they still have guns.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And this just goes to show. Point number 2 from the referendum, dealing under the topic of what all socialist systems have in common. The government does not truly care about you. Okay? They don't care about you. This is one of the hardest truths for people to accept. There has never been a government in human history that consistently placed the well-being of its citizens above the interests of those in power. Let me repeat this again so it really sinks in. There has never been a government in human history that consistently placed the well-being of its citizens above the interests of those in power. Not one, not Denmark, not the United States, not Britain, and definitely not China or Russia. Governments may occasionally do good things. Individual leaders may occasionally have decent intentions, but as institutions, governments are not structured around compassion. They are structured around power, preservation, and control. In fact, if we are being honest, government is the greatest killer in human history. Okay, so this is this neighborhood's solution. Ron, here's the crazy, dirty secret. The solution is so easy.
Oh.
You'd think that people in power would be like, well, we can solve this problem, like the acute problem of bullets flying in your neighborhood because the pimps and gangs are taking a left off Aurora Avenue into your neighborhood. Well, we could actually fix that problem really easy. Okay. So these these people in the neighborhood have decided to fix the problem, to put a hole in the, to patch the dam, so to speak. However, look at how this runs in contravention to city power. And you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here, Ron.
We just saw a Honda Element drive around here, so we got to put a stump over there, I think.
Can't just illegally block the road because
another conflict divides North Seattle's Greenwood neighborhood.
It's either this or bullets in my neighbors' houses.
Not gunfire, but how far residents are going to stop it.
Our neighbors put these up in self-defense.
The risk of emergency services not being able to get through here is greater than the good that they think that they're doing from putting up this.
Makeshift barricades now block 3 streets off Aurora Avenue, and they're building frustration.
And I just don't think that this is the right fix.
It comes after residents like Kate and Peter say they've documented at least 8 shootings in about the past month within roughly 10 blocks of their homes.
We celebrate when there's not a shooting.
Until that evil is taken care of, we got to deal with this.
Seattle requires permits to block or place structures.
Oh, the government power.
Oh, well. Come deal with the permit, people. Come on.
Come deal with the guns. Come take away the guns, and then we wouldn't have to block the streets.
No, this is actually kind of brilliant. You got to force the city to come out here and deal with these barricades and then answer the tough question of how come you're not dealing with the bullets?
How come you're not dealing with the bullets? Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you've got all the resources you need to come deal with these barricades.
Exactly.
The workers that you pay to come move these barricades.
Right.
Why don't you fire the workers and hire more cops?
Or just give them guns.
Or just give the workers guns and say, just come stand post, right? Exactly, Ron.
I wonder how long it'll take before the city officials get out there. It'll be like within 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In public streets. Unauthorized obstructions can lead to fines or removal orders.
Oh, fine me.
Peter say they were built over the weekend and say they don't know whether a permit was approved.
You can't just move these makeshift barricades out of the way. And you can see here they're made of dirt, gravel, chunks of concrete, and even logs.
But doing it yourself, I don't think is right.
Some say it goes too far.
It's not a good way to protest. It doesn't solve anything.
Well, see, she thinks they're protesting. See, that's the it's not a good way to protest.
This is not a protest.
This isn't a protest when there's bullets flying in your neighborhood. This is utility. This is function.
Yeah.
Right? This is function.
Not a fix for sure. It's a Band-Aid. This is Tylenol for stage 4 cancer.
Conflicts between neighbors ended in understanding and, in one case, a handshake.
I'd shake your hand and give you a hug if you're into it.
I'll shake your hand, sir.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Peter.
Peter?
As neighbors pushed the city to stop the violence, their homegrown roadblocks could find themselves at the top of the city's to-do list and be removed.
We're at the point of we have to choose between the lesser of evils.
Do you see how the city doesn't care about your well-being?
Yeah.
Right? The gun violence is continuing. Listen, they've got the best gun laws in the country. There's not another gun law you could pass that's going to touch the pimps or the gangs. You could pass a law that says pimps are not allowed to have guns life in prison. There's still going to be a shootout tonight over the pimps and their girls, okay? It doesn't matter. You've got to go out and arrest the pimps.
Yeah.
Or you can just let the neighbors put barricades up, because at least that's something they can do.
Tylenol for stage 4 cancer.
Tylenol for stage 4 cancer.
That was such a
But
good
yet,
help.
how dare the city deny you the ability to have some Tylenol in your pain? Okay. Government cannot create equality. Point number 3. Another core lie of socialism is the promise of equality. There has never been a government that achieved true equality. There is no government achieving it now, and there never will be. Why? Because human beings are not interchangeable. Every person is unique in talent, temperament, ability, limitation, opportunity, experience, and suffering. No two people are exactly alike. No two lives unfold under identical conditions. Human existence is too varied, too complex, and too shaped by uncontrollable variables for equality of outcome or even equality of lived experience to be possible. This does not mean people should not be treated fairly and with dignity. It does mean government cannot engineer sameness without violence, distortion, or dishonesty. Socialism depends on pretending otherwise. That is why equality rhetoric is so important to the socialist mindset. It creates a permanent justification for more intervention, more control, more centralized authority. And when equality invariably fails to appear, the answer is always the same. We just need more government. It's a self-feeding lie. So Charlie Hager talked about this on the radio yesterday, how part of Seattle's problem is this ideology of equality.
The city of Seattle is stuck in an ideology that treats cracking down on pimps and drug dealers in North Seattle as somehow inequitable. Meanwhile, the people who actually live there are getting shot at. Their babies are in bassinets with bullet holes above them. Their kids are finding shell casings at the bus stop. The city's answer for years has been patience, outreach, services. The same philosophy producing the same results on the same streets. The city of Seattle is stuck in...
Yeah.
Yep.
Just give us more time. We'll figure it out. We're going to figure out the core problem with these drug dealers and these homeless people. We're going to figure out their core problems. This is point number 4. The founders understood something socialists reject: human humility. Okay. So humans are flawed. Humans are deeply flawed. And we often operate under carrot and sticks, right? You either get the stick, some fear to get something done, or the carrot, the reward, the dopamine high to get something done. And a lot of times what happens is there's this little thing in our modern society that breaks normal society carrots and sticks. You know what that is, Ron? Drugs.
Oh.
Las drogas, as they say, okay? Las drogas kind of breaks the normal carrot and
it can
stick
reshape people's paradigm for sure.
Yeah. It used to be, you'd look back at a hard day's labor and you'd see your stacked pile of firewood for the winter and you'd go, God, I just feel good about that. You'd get this little dopamine high after exerting yourself all day. Well, now you can take that little dopamine high that you get from a job well done and you can magnify it by 10,000%.
You can blast it.
And that's called meth. Okay. That's called meth. I heard someone say one time, heroin gives you an incredible sense when you're laying in the gutter and all the sewage is flowing down upon you.
It's like a warm blanket.
Everything's going to be okay. Right? So you've got this broken thing, and the socialists don't understand that the vision of utopia is not enough to get everybody just to follow the rules, that there is going to be some humanity in there. And when you introduce the concept of drugs, you're going to have problems like this. Brandy Cruz and David Chow went on a little walk through a Seattle park, and they saw something that very few of us get to see very often. As they walked through this park, they got to see the homeless encampment and the open air drug use and solicitation that was happening in broad daylight. Now, this is a public park that if you go look at a Seattle Chamber of Commerce brochure, it's a park that says you should take your family to and go visit because it's one of our attractions here in Seattle.
Yeah. This is the problem. Lewis Park, the disaster. The park's been swept so many times. But
hold on. I'll slow it down for you guys so you can watch it at normal speed.
So we can hear Jonathan Cho.
It's a return. This is the problem. Lewis Park, the disaster. The park's been swept so many times, but we'll see if the tents have returned yet, because they will.
One of the most beautiful views of the city, too.
Yeah. This little nook, you see the Seattle Park sign?
Yep.
That nook in there is insane. You see
How many people would you say are in there?
I mean, this is just the daytime. At night, I'd say more than 100. Wow. Right now, we're probably going to see maybe 20, 30. At any point you're not comfortable, any point you're just...
And do people know you up here?
Maybe. Look at everyone doing fetty. There's fentanyl foil everywhere. It's always staring at us. So.
Do you go here? Like, does this lead anywhere?
Yeah, there's a path in the back.
Are we going to be okay?
Yeah.
Walking up on a crowd of essentially everybody just open air drug deal using. Every single one of them.
Wow. Fellas.
Yeah.
No, I don't need Fetty. It's all good.
They're already trying to sell.
Those are the Hondos.
Yeah.
Watch your step here.
He said Hondos. He's referring to Hondurans. This park's mostly full of Hondurans.
Oh boy.
Bathroom there.
What's up, bro? How you doing, player? Yeah, what's up? Good to see you, man. Come on, Bray, we're going to go up here. Yeah. What up, fellas? You good? You good, girl? Good to see you again. What's up, player?
Wow.
What do you think, Brandy?
I mean, I understand why they choose that location, but this should be a park where people can enjoy it. There's homes right here. That's the biggest concentration of active drug use I've seen in 15 years in Seattle. In terms of active actually using in the moment.
Not only drug use, you had dealers offer me.
Twice,
and you heard it.
Yeah.
You need some? You need some? You need any? And those are the Hondurans.
Yeah.
This place is out of sight, out of mind. It's perfect. Okay, there's even more. So
yeah.
The Hondurans are dealing to the rest of the people there.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the hookup.
There's my line bike.
Yeah. There's your line bike.
City bike.
Look at this woman's pants are down. She's injecting.
Hey, man, you okay, man?
He's injecting.
You using a needle right now? Okay.
His pants are down.
Sorry, fellas. We're out of here. Thank you, guys. Be safe. Be safe. Yeah, we got to get going. I've been outed. Start moving now. Don't look back.
Okay, so the rest of it, they said his name, which he's reported often, and so, Antifa kind of chases him around. He's been assaulted by Antifa a few times. So that's just one of our local attractions, Ron. You could go grab a brochure from Seattle and
can't wait to take my kids.
Here you go. Let's do this. Now, here's the thing. Socialism thrives on dividing people. In the name of equality, it creates ever-increasing divisions. Those were residential neighborhoods right there that park kind of cuts through the back of. And you've got that. You think there's an overlap between a property owner paying high tax rates and the people in the back park? There's going to be an animosity that grows there. From the homeless people, they see animosity. Well, you've got stuff that we want. I'm going to come steal your stuff. Why are you so lucky? Or, whatever nonsense they tell themselves. And then on the other side of the fence, they're going, man, why don't you guys get a job? Why don't you guys get some treatment? Yep. And it's just like the left loves it. They love it when there's this huge dispersion. To the rich people, they'll say, have a heart. Have a heart, man. You've never dealt with, you've never dealt with this. To the poor people, they'll go, we're going to get the rich to pay. We're going to get the rich to pay. They're going to continue to enable you. It's just this cycle. They always thrive on dividing. That's just a fact. They thrive on dividing. So let's jump down to LA. So we've taken a little tour through Seattle, right? Things are a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Now, this all stems from the socialism running the show in these two cities. Spencer Pratt was being interviewed down in LA because they also have a homeless problem. And apparently in this interview, he suggests that when he becomes mayor, he's going to bus his homeless people up to Seattle. So that's fun. That's fun. I know there's buses going back and forth as we speak, but one of his main planks now is send them to Seattle. Katie Wilson can deal with them. Okay? So let's listen to Spencer Pratt here.
What are your plans for the over 40,000 homeless in Los Angeles?
Yeah, they're drug addicts. Most of these people are addicted to fentanyl and meth. This isn't Spencer making it up.
Are you saying they don't have homes?
There is places for all of these people to sleep in LA. No matter what anybody tells you, we have housing and shelter for everyone that's living on the street. They're choosing to be on the street because they want to do drugs. They don't want rules. They don't want to listen. They want to have animals to abuse. This idea that they're forced on the street right now is a lie that our city is perpetuating. We've paid $24 billion to house these 40,000 people. There's spots for all of these people. They are choosing because they're an addict, and you can do fentanyl and sewer meth on the sidewalk with no repercussions. These places are not as they have to follow some rules. You can't torture a dog in some of these houses. You can't just attack people. You can't just be naked.
Where are you going to move?
Well, I just released a 9-minute video, so you can.
I think I saw your video.
Yeah, so it's very detailed.
But it's going to take time to build the facility and money.
No.
How fast do you think you can do it?
These people can literally. I went to Washington and I saw miles of the most insane prefabricated housing and building. I asked all the CEOs of these companies, say, how long does this take? I met with FEMA and HUD. 3 days. 3 days. And all of this is cheaper than trying to take over, kick senior citizens out of their buildings. This is what happens. They kick them out, and then the NGOs come in and they spend 4 years. This is LA. This is LA's timetable.
Where is this facility going to be?
It's on beautiful federal land property.
Where, in LA County?
Well, when I'm mayor, I'll go meet with the federal government and I'll get the property. Right now, I'm just running, so I can't give you the exact address because I don't have the legal responsibility to go represent Los Angeles and say, can I have this land? But when I'm mayor, I promise you, because we have the Olympics coming and everybody in the government wants LA to be the #1 most beautiful city, they will work with me to give me the land I need.
So you're going to move these 40,000 people somewhere, and you're going to have this facility up in, you said, how long?
Here's what you got to realize.
90 days?
Let me explain something. These 40,000 people, 60% of them, City Watch just announced this week, are not from Los Angeles. They're not from California. These people have been bussed in by scam rehabs, scam NGOs, scam homeless nonprofits. These people, when I unplug them and say, we're not taking our tax money anymore, they're all going to Seattle where the mayor will welcome them. These are products to a lot of people. So the people that want to keep doing drugs and live on the sidewalk, a lot of these people are going to leave. The other ones, there's a lot of criminals. There's people that are getting naked in front of kids. They're going to jail. The people that are torturing animals, they're going to jail. So not everyone goes in the same box. So
the people that truly are in need, 40,000 people on the streets, let's be generous and say 10% of them are down on their luck. They're not drug addicted. They're down on their luck, single moms with kids. The thing that tugs at our heartstrings that got us originally to open up our wallets and pay the tax dollars to fix these problems.
He represented those people as a product, which I thought was very interesting.
Which brings us to point number 7. Corporations love socialism because there's always a problem to solve. Mm-hmm. And these NGOs are corporations. When we talk about corporations love socialism, we're not exclusively talking about the Microsofts and the Apples and the Amazons of the world. They would just assume compete in a capitalist world. In fact, they've done very well competing on those terms. But what we really talk about are these NGOs here. Mm-hmm. They love it. They're a product. They want to bust them in because then they get more money. The amount of money that is spent on the homeless crisis is more than enough to buy every homeless person a house in whatever city they're in. And like he said, we could house them. Miles and miles of these tiny houses could be set up in 3 days. The problem is when you put little rules like you can't use drugs inside the tiny houses. Well, that's not really what I need anyways. What I really need is meth, right? John, what do we got? We got a little rumble wallet for us?
Yes, let's do it. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part that most people miss. Crypto was created so that you could actually own and control your own money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today. Everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started feels a little complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoins, or even gold-backed securities or real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be set up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do it now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. Pew.
That is awesome. Thank you, Rob. Okay, so Spencer Pratt posted, Karen Bass and Nithya Raman enable this insanity not only by handing out drug needles and crack pipes on your dime, but they also got busted dealing them drugs too. So that happened down in LA, and we have the same problem up here in Seattle. Right. So here we are spending all this money to stop homelessness. But one of the things we're doing, again, corporations love homeless. If there's a homeless guy on the street, then there's an NGO collecting a check for that homeless guy to be their caretaker, right? To help save them. The problem is they don't always want help. And what happens more often than not is these NGOs using government money, and sometimes the government directly will give them paraphernalia and sometimes even drugs.
I just left the Ballard camp here in Seattle, Washington, that's now consolidated behind Albert Lee. It was prior behind Fred Meyer, scattered throughout Ballard. King County Mobile Health Clinic showed up tent side, handing out bags of snacks, beanies, socks, including harm reduction supply. It's crazy. Packs of foil to smoke lethal and illegal fentanyl, tourniquets, cookers, solution, alcohol pads, and a little flyer on how to reverse an overdose. Some bags didn't even include Narcan. Some bags included glass pipes. One pamphlet included where to get Suboxone or more drugs. Nothing there about drug and alcohol counseling, where to get detox, or where to go to a long-term care. Also there was a man who told me that half the people there had housing. And that's something we've flagged for years, that people get into DESC, Catholic Community Services, Lehigh tiny house villages, but they still hang in these encampments in community because this is where the drugs are. This is where the dealers are. This is where you can get high. What I saw today was enablement, making it very easy to stay high, stay on drugs, and harder to get clean, not allowing time for intervention, outreach services like We Heart Seattle or others who want people to get on with their life, get clean, get into treatment, get a job, get back with family, and reach self-sufficiency. What we have here is people who've been homeless for years and years and years. And again, some cases people have housing, more than half, according to a local camper there. In fact, Crystal with the 3 Chihuahuas and Marcus were also here at this encampment. So folks have been living, being swept in Ballard for years and years and years. And now we have and continue to have street side services giving out foil and tourniquets and cookers to do drugs. San Francisco passed a law in 2025 that forbid nonprofits and governmental agencies to hand out harm reduction like pipes, cookers, foil, tourniquets, tent side, and without enrolling into drug and alcohol counseling of some sort. And we need to bring that direction here to Seattle and change the culture that recovery is first, treatment's first, housing is contingent. I just left.
Yeah. So we are literally housing half of them already, and they're choosing not to move up in life because they've got cheap drugs. Thank you, cartels. And then they have all the paraphernalia they need. The clean tinfoil, the nice fresh crack pipes.
Thanks,
I know
City.
they've handed out needles. Yeah, John Atakis was notified that both Taylor and I are getting a referral award on River. First of many through this would just buy a burger. Next one will buy lunch. Oh, yay. That's awesome. Congratulations. Being a part of the solution. You know what Bitcoin doesn't do? Subsidize drug use in Seattle.
Oh.
You know what the dollar does? Subsidizes drug use in Seattle.
Oh, man.
Right. When we talk big picture, when we get 30,000 feet above all this, fix the money, fix the world. A lot of this is because we can just print money and we throw money at this. They weaponize our virtue. Hey, don't you want to stop overdose deaths from the homeless? Well, yeah, we should get them into treatment. Okay, great. Well, donate money here through your tax bill. Okay.
I thought
And then what we're going to do is we're going to give them safe paraphernalia so that they have less overdoses from, toxic metals and things like that are on unsafe aluminum.
Sure.
You don't want them smoking that paint on the top of the tin can that they would smoke their crack in. So let's give them some fresh, clean, sterile tin foil.
Sure.
It's like, well, hold on. That's not what I was thinking my tax money was going to. Oh yeah, no. We definitely can't impose upon these people and get them to change their way of life. I mean, they've got freedom of choice, right? Yeah, on your dime. Let's go full libertarian here. I don't want to pay for your drug use, but you do you, boo.
Jeez.
Really, it's a bad thing here. Now, this lady points out that this entire trend in our inner cities, especially on the West Coast, this started when the Democrats took over.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a clear line in the sand. When Democrats run cities, this will be the result. Give them a decade or give them 2 decades, and this is always the result of socialism.
I want to show you something.
I'm going to pause the music for a second. One thing these pictures don't show you is the before, what this place looked like before there were tents everywhere.
Oh, I know. It's a thriving city with business opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
All this commercial space, these garages, these shops,
Mm-hmm.
these are mechanics that can't work there. These are all kinds of businesses that just can't work there. You can't run a successful business when you've got an encampment on your sidewalks.
Right.
You can't. It's impossible. And who's supposed to be in charge of the sidewalks? The city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's abject nonsense. There's a Tesla pulling up right next to that. Unpause it.
Okay.
What 30 years of a democratically run state has turned into, it might change who you want to.
Yeah. 30 years of a democratically run state might change who you want to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ari Hoffman covers this story out of LA. Again, there's a deep connection between LA and Seattle, right? We're being run by the same ilk of politicians.
Mm-hmm.
And Portland, you could throw into the mix. You could throw San Francisco into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
These West Coasts, there's just this libertarian flavor of socialism,
It's
which
the
is
left
just
coast.
doing untold amounts of damage. Now, on the East Coast, like when I went to a city like Newark, or there's I can't remember the city. I was like, hey, let's drive through that city. I've heard of it before. And the guy that was escorting me through New Jersey was like, dude, Camden. It's like Camden's an open air drug market. We're not even driving through there. Not even driving through there. Okay. But this is Ari Hoffman talking about one of these NGOs that's out there that's supposed to provide safe injections, stuff like paraphernalia, but not the drugs, right? We, of course, we would draw the line on the drugs themselves, right, Ron? Right?
A Culver City man who works for a nonprofit organization that distributes syringes to homeless drug users in Los Angeles and elsewhere was arrested today on a federal criminal complaint charging him with possessing fentanyl when police pulled him over while he drove a BMW near MacArthur Park earlier this month. For those of you who don't know MacArthur Park, that is the drug den of Los Angeles. The things you see in the movies, that's MacArthur Park. Christopher Barrett Johnson is charged with possession with intent to distribute fentanyl. Wait, he's just doing his job. It's clean fentanyl. Don't we have places around here that want to put it in vending machines? It's clean fentanyl, right? Right? It's fine. It should be. It's harm reduction. Oh, you mean that when they always say, oh, we're not giving out drugs, they're actually giving out drugs?
Yeah. Does that sound like something that you really want to be involved in? Of course not. But the Democrats, what do? This is Bernie Sanders, and he's campaigning with the gentleman up in Maine that's got the Nazi tattoo on him that's running as a Democrat, right? He's actually really a threat to Susan Collins. Like she might lose a Republican seat to this guy that has a Nazi tattoo on him. But the Democrats have just said, well, he's had a rough past. It's like, dude, a Republican, if they had look at all the crap they gave Pete Hegseth for an Iron Cross, right. Holy smokes. But again, this weaponization of your virtue. What's the solution, Ron? More money from the rich to help the poor. But we'll tell you we're going to use it for all these good things. Roads, schools, healthcare. But the reality is, where does it actually make it? Where do the Democrats actually spend the money?
No, I think it's abject nonsense. Now, I think that's what somebody says when they don't want to see their taxes go up. There's absolutely no question that if we target the wealth where it has been hoarded, frankly, for decades at this point, and we pull it back into our system and put it into social programs like healthcare, like childcare, like paying teachers what they are worth, we will absolutely improve the lives of working Americans and, quite frankly, improve our society as a whole. It's, I think what he is pitching is propaganda. It's meant to protect himself and protect his crony friends. And we're going to come after them for it.
What are they going to come after the rich, Ron? Take more money to give to the homeless.
Okay.
But we're going to get them housing. Oh, wait, we already have them housed.
And
we're going to give them clean drugs. Clean drugs.
Oh, okay. Maybe
Don't
that's
worry,
what
though.
we need. We just need cleaner drugs.
Teachers will get a raise.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when they tax the rich and they go after the rich? Well, anywhere where you tax the rich, eventually they're going to look for a cheaper place to live. And what is Washington doing right now? In the midst of all this crime, shootings on the streets, homeless encampments abound. You've got drugs being issued out there. Down in LA, you've got the same thing. And what's always the solution? Well, we just need more tax money. We just need more tax money. Well, we've gotten to the point in Washington state where, in violation of our Constitution, there's been an income tax imposed. Now, it's proposed that it will only apply to the millionaires, but everyone is going to be required to file now. So everybody's going to get in the habit of filing year after year. And then eventually, just like as sure as the sun will rise in the east, eventually some future Democrat legislature and governor are going to lower that threshold. And eventually it's just a matter of time before pretty much everyone that's not homeless is going to be considered wealthy and paying an income tax. Because remember, if your constituency, which we've proven down in LA, is primarily made up of Skid Row people that are signing voter registration cards. We've seen this. Like, this is happening. If your constituency is made up of primarily the homeless people because the government is their dealer of choice, okay, whether it's for cigarettes to sign the voter registration card or it's for fentanyl once you get your politician of choice elected, right? When your constituency is that, it pretty much anybody who owns a home or has a job is now classified as wealthy and will eventually be taxed. So what happens when you start taxing successful people? And by success, I simply mean what? Owning a home. Okay. Having a job. Doesn't matter that you're behind on credit card payments. It doesn't matter. You're still better off than the homeless person.
You're somehow self-supporting.
Exactly. Then what happens is there'll inevitably be an exodus. Now, Democrat politicians will deny this, even though the evidence suggests that thousands of politicians will leave your state when you start to tax the wealthy. Not politicians, wealthy people.
People start leaving Washington state. That's a big concern of opponents to the newly enacted tax on incomes more than $1 million. Our state is not the first to enact something like this. KOMO's Natalie Fahmy looks at the data of one state that has had a high earners tax for years now.
Assuming it withstands all challenges, come 2028, Washington will officially impose a 9.9% state income tax on any one household earning more than $1 million annually. Opponents call the tax unnecessary.
It's also just going to harm our state.
Ryan Frost is the director of budget and tax policy at the Washington Policy Center. He looks to other states as an example.
Massachusetts' millionaire tax has been an abject failure.
Unlike Washington, Massachusetts already had a flat state income tax before lawmakers asked voters to approve an additional 4% for people making more than $1 million each year. Massachusetts State Senator Jason Lewis grafted his state's surtax on millionaires.
I would say it's been it's exceeded expectations.
In fiscal year 2024, Massachusetts earned $2.4 billion from the additional tax. And in 2025, $3 billion. Both years saw more money than predicted by millions. But data from the IRS paints a less than rosy picture. In June 2021, the legislature passed the act, guaranteeing its placement on the November 2022 ballot. Between 2021 and 2022, the number of tax filings from millionaires in Massachusetts dropped by about 5,000 people.
I don't see how Washington's going to be any different.
Do you think that people are moving out of your state as a result of this tax?
There's no evidence of that.
There is currently no IRS filing data beyond 2022. Either way, Lewis attributes people moving more so to them relocating for reasons like retirement or job opportunities. Boston-based CPA who works with high earners, Jim Guarino, tells me it could also mean those millionaires became more strategic to avoid the tax, as some may do in Washington.
This is one of those unique circumstances where you may want to consider accelerating income because of that 9.9% train that's coming down the tracks.
Has it been more common that clients prefer to be strategic or just completely move?
That's a good question. I think people have really they've settled down to the fact that it's just another cost of a particular transaction.
Several other states like New York and Maine also have a targeted surtax on its highest earners or have recently passed one. And now California is considering taking it up a notch with a billionaire's tax.
You know, moving is the strategy. You know, who are these dumbasses?
So there's this interesting thing as a small business owner myself. One of the reasons that I focused on being a small business owner and one of the things that attracted me so much to construction was because we were the first stop of the dollar, right? Somebody goes and gets a home loan. The first bill they pay is their foundation excavation, right?
So
I'm the first guy getting paid. And one of the other things that happened over the time period that I was in that marketplace was you're the first stop for the money. So you set the price. When I first started digging foundations, $1,500, I could dig most foundations.
Yeah.
By the time I stopped digging foundations on my way to prison, we were charging around $6,000 to save the dig the same hole. So yes, if you're going to tax the billionaires and the millionaires, most of them generate their money through some sort of business activity. And they will pass that fee, that tax on to who? The ultimate
everybody
buyer.
else.
Everybody else. So there is a little bit of that, right? And when you look at the increase in dollar amount, what I see is, well, that's just the increase of inflation. They're just passing that price on. That's what's going on there. So it's not good for anybody. Everybody ends up paying it when you tax the super wealthy. But there's a lot of people that just straight up move. And then what are you stuck doing? Taxing more and more and more people. To the point that you're taxing people so much that you actually need to get some of these homeless people and in some cases illegal immigrants who kind of fulfill the same function into housing because you've got to fill up the houses and you want to stimulate the economy by doing that. California had a brilliant plan. They actually submitted a proposal and it came really close to passing where they were going to use taxpayer dollars to assist illegal immigrants in their down payments.
I think one of the most offensive things, my parents are immigrants. They immigrated here lawfully.
This is the United States Attorney for California, by the way.
There's a lot of immigrants in California. The president's wife is an immigrant. And they never mention the word illegal. They always say immigrant community. And I just find that particularly offensive, especially for people like my parents who did it the right way. They came here. They took the citizenship exam. I remember my mom studying for the test and learning about the branches of government, everything. They never want to distinguish between legal and illegal immigrants. And I find that particularly offensive. But you're right. The dirty little secret is they want the flow of illegal immigrants. It fuels, well, you could talk about it politically, why for census reporting and other reasons, states like California need that population inflow because everyone else is getting out of the state. And then when you go to Sacramento, this is like the protected oppressed group of the day. And so all their bills every day is like, how do we protect illegal immigrants? How do we get more lawyers for them? How do we get them more services? How do we get them free down payment assistance to buy a home? I'm not joking. That was a bill when I was in Sacramento to allow illegal immigrants to access down payment assistance to buy a home. I was like, how do they even get a loan? And apparently you can get a loan with a TIN number, which I found out. But again, people like my mom, she's not getting down payment assistance. She's not getting all these things. She's working.
Yes, the legal immigrants and the actual Americans are not getting that type of assistance.
Correct.
But the assistance is given to people who committed a crime to get here.
Correct. I think one of the most offensive things.
And it creates division. Socialist heaven, Ron. Socialist heaven.
Ugh.
I know, right? Now, if your constituency is full of people who are not allowed to vote, or it's full of homeless people who are generally going to let the voting dates come and go without too much attention, right? How would you pad the ballots? How would you manipulate the elections to maintain control?
Oh, I don't know. Just issue a ballot for every single one of the illegals and then vote however I wanted to. And
of course, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So you would think, okay, given all we know and all we see, if they're so brazen that they would take your tax money in the name of helping the drug addict, just to then turn around and give them not only the means to use the drugs, but potentially even the drugs themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's any distance that they would go to not maintain their power?
No.
They would go the full distance, right? To the point that they're even potentially killing some of our brothers and sisters that are homeless on the street, suffering from drug addiction.
I think they're fine with killing.
I think they're totally fine with it, right? They would definitely produce a couple fake ballots. No doubt about it. So here's Sheriff Chad Bianco talking about how in California, in his county, he did discover some on its face, what appears to be ballot manipulation. And there's a little bit of a legal saga. And right now they're totally stalled out on doing anything about it.
So their goal is to have so many attorneys in court trying to fight all of these different lawsuits all the time that we just can't afford it.
But why? It's just counting ballots. That's the part I don't understand.
So in the beginning, I was like, well, this is plain and simple. This is easy. We'll just count the ballots. If it comes out right, then we know that you're wrong and fix that process because you missed by 10%. If we're right, if it comes out and there's only 611,000 ballots there, then something's very wrong with those machines, because how did the machine count something that didn't even go into it?
Yeah.
So that's what we have to get
I mean, don't we all want a fair and equitable system?
You would have thought so. Yeah. You would have thought. So immediately the attorney general, as soon as he found out, he tried to convince me to not do anything. And I'm like, look, this is a criminal investigation. We're going to keep going with this investigation. And when I said I wasn't going to listen to his request to stop, he sent me a letter demanding that I stop. It's like, well, this is a lawful investigation. You have no legal authority to tell me to stop an investigation. So we continue doing it. And then he went to court. And then the court can say, okay, now you can't do anything until we rule on it. So it was thrown out of court. He went to the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals threw it out. So now he's gone into civil court to sue us. And unfortunately, the Superior Court judge who has already ruled on this, that told us to count the ballots, now that there's a civil case, he's not allowing it anymore.
He's not allowing it anymore. Because the civil case trumps the criminal case.
Sure.
Yeah, I know, right? So deplorable D2, she's over in King County. Deplorable D2, we have a lot of work ahead for us. Both in your county and my county, to clean up our counties from these sleazebag socialists who want to take and never actually give back. But they'll weaponize the fact that you owe them something so that they can go give it to someone else, right? They'll weaponize the virtue, your bleeding heart. If people become aware of the real problems here, because remember, everybody's in a bubble. They're in a media bubble. They're in a media niche. Maybe their neighborhoods are doing just fine. You don't live off of Aurora Avenue. You have to put their shame, the socialist shame, back in our faces. You have to show them intimately what they're doing with your tax money, what they're doing with the power that we grant them and acquiesce to them by not standing up in our elections. And when you do, overwhelmingly, good people want law and order. Good people want safe streets. Good people want fair elections. They'll be happy with the outcome if they just believe the election is fair. Good people want these things. The Democrats have no idea. They have no idea that the game is already over. It's just a matter of us making people aware of what they're doing, and the game ends. Eric Weinstein and Joe Rogan had a conversation about this. And I actually think this is an excellent take.
I don't think the Democrats understand that it's over and that there was a vast infrastructure that made their feeble arguments viable. And that infrastructure is now collapsing. People are far more aware and their lives aren't going to function anymore.
Well, it makes sense that we're seeing these numbers because, okay, this was what was funding the infrastructure. Now we get it. Because it wasn't, otherwise, it's organic. This is the will of the people. This is how people are moving. It's not. It wasn't that at all. This was all organic. And it was really about control and money. It had nothing to do with helping people, making people better, giving aid to foreign countries. That's all a cloak and dagger bullshit show.
It was nothing about helping the homeless. It wasn't stopping the drug addict. It wasn't helping the immigrant. None of that. The game is over. And how do I know the game is over? D, this is really important for you to look at here because you're involved in the party and you've got to get other people to listen to this podcast because over time you start to see this and understand it. Washington and the United States of America at large, California included, these are not blue states. They're under blue control. They're under blue dominion. Mm-hmm. They're under Democrat and socialist governance. But the people are not that. Not in large. There's 40,000 homeless people in Los Angeles, but there's millions of people that live there. There's millions of normal people who choose to conform with society standards, get a job, be self-sustaining, self-maintaining, right? Like there's millions of people that do that. And at large, the Democrat Party is hemorrhaging. They're not going to project this. They're not going to come out in CNN and go, the Democrat Party is essentially dead. No, they've got the illusion of control. And as long as they can maintain that illusion, there are people who, until the wickedness of the socialism comes out and touches them, until they quarter soldiers in your house, until there's a shootout on your street, until there's a homeless encampment in your backyard, until there's, boys in your daughter's bathrooms, you don't really feel this, but we can show it to them. We can show them what's coming. And this is the tool that every Republican campaign should be doing right now. This should be the hook. This should be the thing that gets people's ears open. And it works. And it's working whether you want it to or not. Here, let me show you a great example. This is from Vote Hub, National Committee Finance Update. This is the Republicans. Cash on hand, $123,900,000, almost $124 million. No debt. The DNC, cash on hand, $14.4 million, debt, $17.5 million, giving them a negative net worth of negative $3.1 million. There has never, ever in the history of the two-party system been a scenario where the two parties are so far apart in money on hand. Never been one. Right? Deplorable D. How are these guys maintaining themselves? Because of Republicans' acquiescence to not put their shame in their face. Spencer Pratt's going to win that election down in LA. The only way he wouldn't is if there's voter fraud. It's just obvious. It's the Chad Bianco problem, right? The only way they win is with voter fraud. Look at what Oregon just did with that tax referendum last week. 85% rejected it. Look, that's over. It's only the Republicans, that middle ground establishment rhino Republican, that allow these people to continue in existence. And that's where we have to come in with the takebackmycounty.com project, is you just have to go. I was talking to someone this weekend. We had that's my headphones. We had a Memorial Day barbecue on Saturday. a friend of ours, it's a mutual friend, and he has barbecues all the time. It's up in Hansville. You know what I'm talking about. So there was someone that I was talking with there, and they were talking about some stuff that I was just kind of rolling my eyes at. But I said to him, we started talking a little bit about politics, as conversations with me often do. And I said, we talk about how bad things are. And this conversation was literally stemming around the second coming of Jesus has to be soon because things are falling apart so fast.
Okay.
And I'm like, I got very frustrated. So I said, the reason things are falling apart so fast is because you're distracted going to church every Sunday and praying for Jesus to come again to fix all these problems. But when we were endorsing candidates, the people who were going to be on the ballot that were going to run our county and our state and our country, when we were endorsing candidates in our local Republican Party, there were 22 people there. When you go to church on Sunday, there's 300 people.
Right.
You know what 300 people politically involved in a county could do? Change the whole county. That's enough people to recruit good candidates, give them the support they need, the political apparatus they need to actually win elections. 22 people were there selecting who was going to run our county. Do you think you could vet everybody? No. Do you think every candidate we endorsed was the best? No. Why did they care about our endorsement? There was 22 of us, right? But yet we were giving the endorsement to who likely is going to be one of the two candidates on the ballot. If you just took any congregation in America and said, this week, instead of going to church, we're going to go to your local party meeting, you could change the politics of that county overnight. Overnight. You think the establishment's running you out? Get a Mormon church to show up on Monday night and you could vote them all out. And you could put your candidates in, right? You could run your Republican Party. And then pretty soon you can decide who's going to be running for a county commission. And you would have the ability to actually door knock the county and get the support. It could change that quick. And just to make it easier, Donald Trump overturned the Johnson Amendment, which said that pastors and clergy couldn't endorse candidates over the pulpit. They can do that now. They can do that now. So why aren't they?
Well, I think there's church policies about it.
Oh, sure. As a result of that Johnson Amendment for all those years. But why sit around and pray for Jesus to come again to fix the problems when you could just put up barricades on your city streets?
Yeah, faith without action is dead, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you do something about it? Now, I'm not criticizing everybody who goes to church like, you have some obligatory side hustle that you need to go and be involved in politics. But my point in saying is the Republicans have built in these community infrastructures that Democrats don't have. They have to pay for their protests. Ours could happen organically.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Ours could happen organically. You could just literally get one congregation to show up at any event, and you could take over a county commission, a council, a Republican Party, even a Democrat Party if you wanted to. I suggested that. I said, honestly, what should happen is the stake president should tell this ward to go take over the Democrat Party, and that ward to go take over the Republican Party, and then we'd have it totally on lockdown. That's how insignificant some of these local parties are when you really compare it to the other institutions that are out there that are conservative leaning. You just got to go get them involved. So takebackmycounty.com is the place to go to become involved. Politicalremodel.com is where you can download the manuscript to understand this. And here's the reality. The Democrats are completely focused on hiding, what is that pig in a poke, that football thing where you put the shirt in the football in your shirt so nobody can see it. They're really good at hiding the football. They're hiding the football and doing smear campaigns. Now, I really admire what Spencer Pratt is doing down in LA. And it's very obvious as he builds momentum behind his campaign that the other politicians that are running against him are going to fight him any way they can.
From the opposition, a lot of them are planted. I just discovered, and I have the evidence, that Councilwoman Rahman has actually been paying for most of these videos about me. I'll obviously give you the evidence, and you say we're going to file an ethics complaint. She's paying for these videos of these narratives about me. They're paid performers. They're paid influencers. So I don't actually believe the people that are voting for me believe any of these lies that are perpetuated about me. The reality is, when you run for mayor, every single one of my apps since I announced, any app, any social media has to be demonetized. You make no money. I can't sell my business. Before this was selling crystals the way they make. I can't be holding up crystals and saying shop here. I can't.
He was selling crystals.
My wife's music, which it pays for my kids' food. My wife's music and helping support promoting her music. I can't be all day long posting her beautiful videos of her doing her music. I don't even talk about, now you brought it up because you're asking, my book came out. I haven't done one book event now. I never get to go out and, talk about my book. Anything that I could make money off, you can't make money when you're running for mayor. So nobody besides these opposition liars spread that because they know I'm not making any money for this. And this isn't fun. Having people attack you all day long isn't like a fun clout. I was having a lot of fun feeding hummingbirds, going live on TikTok, being with my kids, and then they burned my house down in my town. So if we're going to talk about anything, I would like to go back to when I had a house and my parents had a house. And I'll take that simple version of clout that was a lot more fun than I have right now. So
yesterday, President.
They'll criticize you for trying to make a difference any way they can. We have to stand through it. Deplorable D says, a lot of churches are on the path to apostasy and have gone woke with the DI thing. I agree. But you know what I talked to this weekend as well? Someone who left their church because their church went woke. They're still out there, folks. The congregants aren't necessarily all going woke. It's the pastor. And a lot of this, again, the money. Where do they get their tax write-offs? From being a registered church, right? And then they have to conform with all their civil rights laws, which includes a lot of DEI stuff. So they lean into it to keep their tax benefits. But they don't have to, right? They could stand strong. And we just have to give them a reason. People are attracted to that fiery, let's fix things in real world action. And we just have to find them. All right, guys, that's it for our public side today. We are going to jump over to private and we're going to talk a little bit about Texas. And then we're going to talk just a little bit more about a big deal that just got signed with India for critical minerals. So we'll talk to you